So in this final part of our if statement tutorial, we're going to piece together everything we've learned so far, and we're going to use Android to do it. We're going to do this by incorporating if, else if, and else statements, as well as nested if and multiple condition statements. So this is again piecing together pretty much everything from the previous tutorials. Now we're going to use the example of a Monopoly game where we're testing possible outcomes for a turn. So this is going to be a different outcome depending on dice rolls and whether or not we're in jail. By now we've seen pretty much every instance of an if statement we could see. So we've seen basic if statements, we've seen double if statements, we've seen if statements testing two conditions and nested if statements, and we've seen else if and else statements. So it's a lot to take in, so let's put it all together and make a very complicated condition. Now this is going to be pretty tough to follow, so if you need to watch it a few times, then do so just to grasp fully what's going on. So what we're going to do is we are going to go back to the idea of the Monopoly game. So what did we have there? We had an int, that's dice 1, and we gave this a value of 3. Let's have an int dice 2, and we'll give this a value of 5 for now. And we had an int, was a player position, and we'll give this a value of 16, doesn't really matter. And what's this? Dice 1's assigned but never used. Don't worry, we'll use those later. And we're going to introduce another variable, which is going to be a boolean, and this is going to be is in jail. And we're going to assign this a value of false for now. Okay? So I'm going to explain how we're going to use those right now. So let's say we are about to roll our dice, and the first thing we want to check is if we're going to roll doubles. So, in fact, for those of you who played Monopoly before, you know the in jail rule where if you are in jail you have to roll 3 doubles to get out, or you have to roll a doubles within 3 rolls to get out, or you can pay. So basically, if you're in jail, then you can pay to get out right away, or you can try and roll a doubles. And if you roll a doubles, then you get out of jail. Okay, so we'll follow that train of thought. So if dice 1 equals dice 2, so if the two are the same, and we're going to pass in another condition here, and is in jail equals false. So this is if the two dice are the same, so if we roll doubles, or if and if is in jail is false. So we're testing these two conditions. If these are the same and we're not in jail, and only if those two conditions are true. Now we're going to introduce some nested if statements. So these ones are going to test, in fact we're going to create another variable first, and we're going to call this sequential rolls. So this is how many rolls in a row we have rolled. Okay, so let's set this equal to 2. Okay, so this is going to be, for example, we roll one set of doubles, our sequential rolls is going to be 1. We roll another set of doubles, our sequential rolls is going to be 2. And if we roll that third set of doubles, our sequential rolls is 3, and we'll go to jail. Okay, so if we're at 2, we're in the danger zone. If we're at 1, we're in the clear, and if we're at 0, we haven't rolled yet. Okay, so now we are going to test if sequential rolls is equal to 2. So this is if we're in the warning stage. Now, at this point, we're not in jail because this is false, but dice 1 equals dice 2, so that's another doubles, and if we are already at 2 sequential rolls, we've already rolled 2 doubles, now we're going to go to jail. So now we're going to change the is in jail to be true because we're supposed to go directly to jail, and we're going to change the text, the label that or the little text view that we have, and we're going to change that to say go to jail. Alright, and Last thing we're going to do is we're going to change sequential roles to be 0. Okay, so this is basically our go to jail sentence. So if we roll a doubles, we're not already in jail, and this is our second roll, then we are going to go to jail and basically write the message to say that we are and perform all the tasks to indicate that we are. Okay, and so our next test, and this is an else if this time. So if this is not true, then we'll test this case. If sequential rolls is equal to 1, so we've already rolled 1 doubles. We want to not change as in jail because that's not going to change, but we should change the text to say something like we should change it to beware, do not roll another doubles or you will go to jail. Okay, and that is true because if at that point we've rolled another doubles and we've already rolled 1, then we're at 2 doubles, so our sequential rolls variable will be changed to 2, and now we're in the danger zone. So what's the warning I've got here? Oh, it's got the double equals, that's why. Okay, so now else, and this will be the final case, that either our sequential rolls are at 0, meaning we haven't rolled yet, or our sequential, I guess that's the only case we have. So now with this else, remember we're not actually testing anything, this is just saying there are no other options that we're interested in testing, so then we're just going to do this. And we're just going to have the text say roll again. In fact, this should say roll again and beware, do not roll. Let's get rid of the beware. So this is just going to say roll again, do not roll another doubles or you'll go to jail. And in this case, it's just going to say roll again, and we're going to change sequential rolls to be 1. Okay, so this encompasses all of the cases where we have rolled a doubles. So this is if dice 1 equals dice 2. So if we're at 2 sequential rolls already, we're going to go to jail. If we're at only 1 sequential roll, then we're going to say roll again, but be careful not to roll another doubles or you will go to jail. Otherwise, we're just going to say roll again. Okay? And each time we should update the player position, except when we're going to jail. So this time we're going to update player position, and we're going to say that the player position is the current position plus dice 1 plus dice 2. Okay? There's no point, we're not going to bother printing out the player position. We can if we really want, but that's not why I'm including it. I'm just trying to simulate a game here, and this might be something that the game tests each time. So now we're going to create another else if, and this is going to test to see if we are in jail and if it's false. So this is, we haven't rolled doubles, but we're not in jail, so this is just going to be a regular turn. Let's say we roll a 5 and a 3, we're just going to move our piece accordingly. Okay, so we're not going to bother printing out anything, we're just going to say player position equals the player position plus dice 1 and then plus dice 2. So this is just updating the player position. I should have the double equals here. Okay, and our final case is another else, and this is going to basically encompass the case that we are in jail. So we've tested if the 2 dice are the same, and we are, where did I add that Z in there? So this is going to again test if the dice are the same and we're not in jail. This one's testing if the dice aren't the same, which is implicit, and we are not in jail. And this is last else is basically you're in jail, so this is what we're going to do. And in fact, let's have some text regardless, just so we have something to print out. This is going to say move your piece. In fact, let's just, yes, let's have it say move your piece. Okay. This should be move your piece and roll again. This one is going to say move your piece and roll again, but do not roll another doubles. This one's going to be move your piece, but do not roll again. And this one, you're in jail, and we have not rolled doubles, so we're just going to say text.text equals you are still in jail, try again. Alright, in fact we should actually create another case. So this will test if dice1 equals dice2 and is in jail equals true. Then we should get out. We should have this text saying you have rolled doubles, you can get out of, you are free. Okay, and the final case will be the final else, and this will basically just say, this will be if we are in jail and haven't rolled doubles, and this will be you are still in jail, try again. Okay, so we have a pretty complicated thing going on here. There's a lot of ifs, there's a lot of elses, and there's some double conditionals in here. So let's just go through this slowly and explain at each step what's happening. So first, we want to test if the dice are equal and we're not in jail. And so this is basically we've rolled the doubles, and if we're at sequential, two sequential rolls and we roll the double, we go to jail. If we're at one sequential roll and we roll the double, then we get the warning and we move the piece. And if we are at 0 sequential rolls and we've rolled another double, then we're going to say move your piece and roll again. And we're going to update the player position plus dice1, dice2. Okay. And if we don't roll doubles and we are not in jail, we're just going to move the piece and update position. If we have rolled doubles and we are in jail, then we're just going to get out of jail. And otherwise, we haven't rolled doubles, we've just rolled a regular roll, but we're still in jail, so we don't actually go anywhere. Alright, so let's see what happens. So we have the dice being different, okay, and is in jail as false. So let's see what prints out on the console. And at this point, again, I understand there's a lot going on. There's a lot to take in. There's some ands, there's nested if statements, there's a lot. So if you need to pause the video and review all this, please feel free to do so. But we get move your piece being printed out because we don't have the dice equal and is in jail is false. So let's see if is in jail is true. Let's see what prints out. I'll rerun it. And we get printed out, you are still in jail, try again. And that's correct because we're in jail and the dice are not equal. So now let's see what happens if the dice are equal. And we're going to wait for it to load. It says you've rolled doubles, you are free. And that's correct because we're in jail, but we rolled doubles. Now let's see if we are not in jail and our dice are true and sequential rolls is 2. And just wait for it to load. So now this is going into this nested if statement. Sequential rolls are 2, so we go to jail. That's unfortunate. Okay, and now sequential rolls are going to be 1. And we'll run this again. So I'm just going through all the possible conditions. Move your piece, oops, spelled that wrong, and roll again. Do not roll another doubles or you'll go to jail. And the last case is going to be sequential rolls as 0. And we roll a doubles. We're going to test that out. So this is this case, this final case within the if statement here. And it's going to be move your piece and roll again. And for some reason I've put the N in piece a few times. Okay, so now this is, I know this has been a very complicated if statement here, but we've gone through each case. Again, feel free to pause the video and analyze each case, each if statement case by case to see what's going on and see what all the possible outcomes could be, because there's a lot of different combinations here. So this is, again, just piecing everything together. We've got some if statements with 2 conditions. We've got an if statement with just the 1 condition. There's some else if, else statements. We've got nested if statements. And we've got some more just regular else if and else statements. So that's pretty much a summary of if, else if, and else statements. This is all of them together. This in Android, it's pretty much the same to code it in iOS instead. And thanks for watching our tutorial. We'll see you next video. In this final part of the tutorial, we pieced together pretty much everything we've learned so far about if statements, and we used Android to do it. So we designed a simple Monopoly game where we're going to be basically testing. We roll a dice and we test what the outcome of that turn is going to be. So we might have rolled doubles, we might go to jail, we might not, we might be in jail already, and we basically wrote tests to have a different outcome depending on whether each test passes or fails. So by now you should be able to write complicated if statements, testing a variety of conditions with different outcomes with each condition. I know the big if statement we wrote in this tutorial has been a little complicated, so feel free to go back and watch it again and pause it just to really analyze exactly what's going on, because I know it's a little complicated. Right, this has been our tutorial series on if, else if, and else statements in Xamarin Studio. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next series.